Welcome to this episode of the Maza's Musings podcast. This week, we are talking with Chris, the DCL Cruising Dad, and we are talking about his recent trip on a 3-day cruise on the Disney Magic. And one of the things that's great about this episode is it really highlights that you don't have to go on a super long trip to have a great time. These short excursions can really just like scratch that cruising itch that you have. So looking forward to that conversation. It was a lot of fun. We also dove into a little bit of the Disney Destiny, which is going to be getting ready to take on its first passengers in just a short amount of time now. So before we get into that, of course, this is an episode that is coming out on Halloween. So we thought that it would be appropriate to have a spooky Meghan's Cuckoo Bananas Joke of the Week. I was going to do something spooky there, but then I just decided, no, I'm just going to play it straight. But anyway, here's the joke.
And now it's time for Meghan's
Cuckoo Bananas Joke.
Hi, Meghan.
Hi.
Do you have a joke for us today?
Yeah.
Okay, let's hear it.
What do you get when you cross a book with a ghost?
I don't know. What do you get when you cross a book with a ghost?
A book. Instead of a book, a book.
Yeah, I get it. Thank you. Good one.
Thank you.
All right, say good night.
Good night. Woo. No, not read that. Not read that. What?
All right, well, sticking with our Halloween theme, I know that with Disney-related episodes, I usually don't have Maza's Mickey Minute. But this year, I'm just doing it a little bit differently because, well, it's Halloween. So, let's talk about Disney and Halloween. And here we go.
Donald, wake up! It's showtime! Don't forget the orchestra!
Ah, there you are. And just in time.
Mom says there's even more magical stuff now.
For those of you standing, please hold on to the handrails throughout our journey and stay clear of the doors.
Hang on to them hats and glasses, because this here's the wildest ride in the wilderness.
And here we go!
All right, so to get in the mood here, I have my Mickey pumpkin hat for those of you who are watching on video. It's one of my favorite, glows in the dark. If you are not, I'll think about throwing something up on social media. You've probably seen it before if you follow some of my social media. I've kind of shared some of our Disney Halloween related stuff in the past. But anyway, so for this Maza's Mickey Minute, I was thinking about, well, I've already done stuff on, favorite villains and things like that. But what about those sidekicks? So I've just decided a quick list here. These are my 5 favorite villain sidekicks or henchmen or whatever you want to call them. Here they are. We are going from 5 to 1. And the first one is, which are, of course, Hades's bumbling henchmen in Hercules. I mean, there's a little bit of a creep factor to them, but mostly a lot of, comic relief kind of stuff, which honestly, when you compound that with just what a great job James Woods did with bringing humor to the Hades character just works really, really well. They play off each other really well. All right. The next one is from The Emperor's New Groove.
Oh, yeah. It's all coming together.
Now, Kronk isn't like your typical henchman. He is 100% just there for the comedy. He's got a kind of a sweetness to him, honestly, that you that sweetness definitely lends to some of the loyalty that he has for Yzma, but it really makes him an endearing character in this story. So yeah, Kronk, lots of fun, lots of memorable lines. So I'm not going to go into famous lines for all of these because this is supposed to be Maza's Mickey Minute, and it usually ends up being much longer than that. And I'm rambling again. So we are going to go on to number 3, which is from Robin Hood. And it's Trigger and Nutsy, the Sheriff of Nottingham's vulture henchmen who just have their own little quarrels and everything. And of course, there's the famous
1 o'clock in all's well.
which I will just randomly say. Yes, I said I wasn't going to go into quotes and stuff, but that's something that I will say regularly. I'll slip that reference in every so often just to be funny, and most of the time people get it, but there are those times where I'm disappointed and everybody's looking at me like I'm an idiot for a different reason. There are lots of times when people are looking at me like I'm an idiot, but for this specific reason, and that makes me really disappointed. I kind of expected the rest of the time. Anyway, can you tell that I'm a little amped up? I'm not sure why. It's just been maybe it's because I know that in this household somebody's going to be very upset at the end of the week because Notre Dame is playing BC, and Meghan and Eileen are probably going to be rooting for BC because Eileen went to BC, and I am going to be basking in the glow of what's hopefully a 30-point victory. Anyway, off the topic once again, number 2 is Iago. Now, this was obviously a role that was cast perfectly, obviously brings a lot of humor again.
Oh, there's a big surprise!
The humorous side to the evil plot, but there's definitely that, no other way to put it, that evil, that scheming aspect to Iago that makes this more of a full character. All right, and the last one.
I just hear that name and I shudder. Mufasa.
The hyenas.
Do it again.
Mufasa. From The Lion King. Shenzi, Bonsai, and Ed. Again, plenty of humor here, but they are menacing too. So you get a little bit of both worlds, and it really, really works well. When you need that comedic punch, there they are. But when you need that true, like, kind of villainous aspect, they provide that as well. I thought that these were not only great actors who were playing these roles, but also a great job by the animators and everybody involved with developing these characters in providing that kind of depth for them. So those are my top 5 Disney henchmen or groups of henchmen. What are yours? Let me know. Send me an email, mazasmusings@gmail.com, or find me on social media, shoot me a message, or comment on any of the podcast stuff. And I'll gladly share that with the group. All right, so now that we're rolling with the Disney stuff, here is my conversation with Chris, the DCL Cruising Dad. All right, and I am here welcoming in Chris, the DCL Cruising Dad. Thank you very much for joining me. This is exciting. This is the first time that you've been on the podcast, and so very excited to have you. And usually at the beginning, I give the guest an opportunity to introduce themselves because they can do a far better job of that than I ever could. So please let us know a little bit about who you are and a little bit about your work as the DCL Cruising Dad.
Yeah, well, thanks, Chris, for having me, and I'm very excited to get to reach a new audience, and I love being on podcasts talking about pretty much anything Disney Cruise Line. The sailing we'll talk about was our 15th sailing. We've been sailing with Disney Cruise Line since 2014. My family is my wife Sarah, my son Jake, and my daughter Brooklyn. And our first sailing back in 2014 was on the Disney Dream. And at that time, my wife Sarah was working for an IT company, very, very small company. It was her and just two or three other people. And for a Christmas present, they all got us sailing on the Disney cruise ship, and from there, we got bit pretty bad by the bug. We took a second cruise back in 2018, and that was when my daughter was under 3, and I think that was the sailing that really turned the key, put the nail in the coffin, whatever mnemonic you want to use, that really sold us on Disney Cruise Line, and we honestly haven't looked back. We've been on almost all the ships. We are still missing the Wonder, which we hope to eventually either sail Alaska one summer or make it out to the West Coast. My DCL Cruising Dad name comes from the originally need to thank my wife for the idea to actually start a website and blog, because she saw all the notes and all the to-do lists and the packing lists that I was providing, and then spending time answering questions on all the Facebook groups. And she's like, why don't you just, put something together? I'm a pharmacist. I have no website design ability. So I had basically had to learn that all on my own. I started in, I think it was around October of 2022. That was when our first sailing after COVID was on the Wish. And I built the website, and then I really wasn't happy with the way it was loading. So I changed over to Squarespace in March of 2023, and haven't looked back. I've fallen in love with photography also at the same time, where my family knows and jokes that the camera eats first for all of our meals, and the website is just continues to grow and grow and grow. One of my pride and joys is the menu links, where I have pretty much every menu on all the current ships and almost every photo of what is offered on the rotational dining. Also, the website is broken into a first-time cruisers page that has a bunch of good information, and then each ship individually has their own page that includes what is offered on the ship as far as staterooms, rotational dining, quick service, Broadway shows, etc., and etc. So there's a lot to learn, and really the whole idea behind the website is I want someone to go there and learn something that would make their sailing just more magical. Just one little tip, one little trick that they couldn't find somewhere else, and bam, they got it, and it just helped them, and then they're want to cruise even more.
Now, I have to say, mentioning photography, that is something that I've really enjoyed. I especially like we're Disney Vacation Club members, so we're at the parks a lot, especially Walt Disney World. And I've always loved taking pictures at the parks and taking pictures of especially some of the smaller details and things like that. And I loved my first cruise. My wife had been on a Disney cruise previously, but my first Disney cruise was on the Wish. And I really enjoyed, I'm kind of an early riser, and I really enjoyed when the ship was quiet and there weren't that many people around, just getting to explore the ship and take some pictures. And of course, the Wish has the Cinderella statue in the lobby, and not exaggerating at all. At one point, I was trying to get a particular picture, kind of like from the viewpoint of Lucifer, the cat, like trying to capture the mice under Cinderella's dress. So I'm kind of like laying prone, like on the floor, trying to get the camera like just above Lucifer's ears. So anybody walking through, luckily it was early in the morning, so there weren't that many people around. But anybody walking by might have thought that I was having a problem.
I love it.
So yeah, and I think And the ships are, there's always, it seems like a different thing that different people can find that will really help them, get something special out of it. And that
Mhm.
was one of the things that's a lasting memory for me, outside of the memories that I have with my family. So
Very nice. Yeah, they're I'm usually an early riser for those photos also, and I'll lay right on the floor in the grand hall or atrium and get looking up photos at the chandelier. Or yep, there are some great photo opportunities early on, especially with the sun rising and all that. So yeah, it is a prime time to get some less people around photos of the ship, so that it's easier to publish stuff.
So you mentioned that this was your 13th sailing. This is your third on the Dream. Now, as I said, I've only been on the Wish. What is it about the Dream? Each ship is a little bit, from what I understand, a little bit unique. And what is it that you found that makes the Dream a unique ship?
Mhm. So the Dream is their third class. It's in the Dream class. It's the Dream and Fantasy that are sister ships together. And it one thing that I really love about the Dream class is their adult lounges and how they are themed. They have it's called the District, and that's where you'll go and you'll have a couple different adult lounges that are all themed differently. Offer a little something different. Where you have a sports bar, you have live a live pianist or some live jazz band. You have a champagne lounge. Everything's a little different. And the other thing I like about the Dream class ship was, in particular, going to Disney's second private destination, Lookout Cay. That was one thing that drove us to this sailing, and also with it being over Labor Day, I like 3 night sailings during that where I'm not missing too much work, but it's just enough to kind of itch or scratch the Disney cruise uh, itch that I'm having. That we kind of do. We'll do one in February, 3 nighter around President's Day, and then Labor Day, and try to do something a little longer in the summer. But it kind of scratches the Disney cruise itch. As far as the restaurants on the Disney Dream, we also love Animator's Palate, which on the Dream you'll have a Crush interactive dinner, which is a lot of fun.
All right. So getting into this particular trip, it was a 3 night Bahamian cruise
Mhm.
out of Fort Lauderdale.
Mhm.
So before we even get on the ship, I'm very interested in the experience of sailing out of Fort Lauderdale, because
Mhm.
that's where I'm going to be sailing out of for the Disney Destiny trip that we're taking in February. So, talk a little bit about that and how the experience, kind of on top of everything else, differs from, say, if you're going out of Port Canaveral.
Mhm. Yep. Sailing out of Fort Lauderdale or Port Everglades, they sometimes call that. It's one thing that I really like about this port is that from the airport, from Fort Lauderdale's airport or some of the local hotels, it's about 15 minutes, probably even less than that, to get to the port versus Port Canaveral. You could stay in Orlando, which would be about a 45-minute ride, or same thing at some of the Walt Disney World hotels, or stay at Cocoa Beach would be a little closer. So I do like the proximity of the Fort Lauderdale airport to Port Canaveral. To Fort Lauderdale, and there's also a couple other airports that you could fly into. There is Miami, and I think there's also West Palm Beach, or some other local airports. I know those three because I look at Southwest flights. We're a
Mm-hmm.
Southwest family, so I'm able to look at those. And with Fort Lauderdale, there are two hotels that they're paired up with right now for Disney ground transfers. There's the Hilton uh, Fort Lauderdale Marina, which is the one we stay at. We've stayed at that one twice with us. This is the second time going out of Fort Lauderdale. Also, my wife's brother Ben lives locally, so I like sailing out of this because we get to also enjoy a dinner when we fly in and get to spend some time with him. The home port out of Fort Lauderdale is also themed to Finding Nemo, so it's a awesome decorated port. It's a lot of fun to spend some time in it before you get on the ship.
Excellent. So, talk a little bit about the itinerary for this trip.
Mhm.
You
Yep.
obviously you got on. You're at the port. You're getting on the ship, and where are you going from here?
Yep. So the first port we go to is Lookout Key at Lighthouse Point, and then the second one is Nassau, and then the third day you are sadly off the ship. Um, so it does go by quite quickly, but our first protocol is a Lookout Key and then Nassau. So one thing that we're looking forward to this time with Lookout is with it being our second time, we wanted to explore a different part of the island this time. So the first time we got off. When you get off the tram, you can go left or right to basically the family beach. And what the one thing that's different is you have a True True Barbecue too. If you go to the left, or if you go to the right, you'll have True True Barbecue, which they serve the same exact food. It's just two different locations, kind of the same way it's set up on Castaway. So this time we went to the right to explore True True Barbecue, to also take a look at Sebastian's Cove, where it's it's basically the Oceaneers Club and Lab on the island for
Mm-hmm.
kids ages 3 to 10, and then to look at some other locations like Triton's Trumpet Stage and a couple one of the bars that I didn't get to see at the other time. So we're excited to get to explore a different part of the island.
Now, what is Triton's Trumpet Stage? Is that
Uh,
it sounds like a performance venue of some kind?
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Unfortunately, I don't have. I just have photos of the venue quiet, but it is a stage for stuff to be done throughout your time on the island. A lot of the times, most of the stuff is done in Goomba's Cultural Center, which is closer to True Barbecue.
Okay.
There's a
Now,
lot to do on the island in the app. You'll see. Cultural show, a parade, some scavenger hunts. There's a nature's trail. So once you're connected to the ship's Wi-Fi and you have a port at Lookout Key, you will see a good amount of different offerings for that day.
Now, how would you compare the experience at Lookout Cay to, say, their other
To
destination?
Castaway.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Castaway.
So Castaway, I would say, is a Disney themed private island, private destination. Whereas Lookout, they really took the Bahamian culture and influence and some of Disney to make this a private destination. So they are completely different. A couple things are similar as far as the beach and a barbecue is included. The food is quite different. You'll also have a adult only area, Serenity Bay, for 18 and older. And then you'll have Family Beach. They both have cabanas for adult onlys and for families. But overall, the vibe and the feel of the islands or the private destinations are quite different. The Castaway is kind of like a shipwrecked island type of feel, versus Lookout's going to provide you with the Bahamian culture, a lot of Junkanoo stuff to learn and get to experience. So two different destinations altogether, and those are honestly some of the sweet spot itineraries that I'm looking forward to do in the future, where we basically just go to both of those islands on a
Hmm.
sailing.
Now, the second port of call here was Nassau, and
Mhm.
Nassau is where we stopped on our trip on the Wish. Um, Are you one who will get off in Nassau, or I know that there are some people who are just on those kinds of port days are kind of like, okay, everybody else can get off, and we'll enjoy the ship to ourselves.
Yeah, earlier on we got off. I know we've gotten off at least 2 or 3 times. The first time we went to Atlantis to enjoy the water park, and the second time we got off is right when they finished redoing the port area. So now the port area in Nassau is a fenced-in area with shops, some restaurants. I think there's even a little Junkanoo museum and stuff like that. So it kind of keeps some of the people that are trying to sell you stuff or be a little pushy to come look at some of their shops, kind of keep you, they stay outside of that fenced in area. So if that's something that you have a young family or something you don't want to kind of experience, you could still get off on Nassau, experience some of the port area, and then get back on. But yes, there are a good amount of people that don't get off on Nassau, and there are a good amount of people that do. Atlantis has a casino. Casinos are not on any of the Disney Cruise Line ships, so that's something that the adults are interested in doing. The other thing that on these 3 night sailings, if Palo or based on what restaurant you're on, whether it's Remy or Enchanté Brunch you're looking for, a lot of times those are only going to be offered on Nassau Day. Therefore, and those take a couple hours. So if brunch is something that you're very looking forward to and want to try, you really only have one opportunity. So you kind of got to pick, do I want to do an excursion and get off at Nassau, or do I want to enjoy adult dining with my significant other?
So while you were on this, 3 nights, not a very long stay, but it seems like looking at some of the things that you were able to take advantage of on the ship as well, but whether it's dining experiences or some other things, what are some of the highlights that you had from this trip? Some of the things that you're looking back and you're saying, wow, this is a great experience, or it may be something that you think back on and it's just like, huh, maybe I expected that to be a little different.
Yeah. So one of the first things that we got to experience for the first time, well, we've seen the Golden Mickeys before. That's one of the Broadway shows on the Disney Dream. So all your sailings are going to have 3 Broadway caliber shows that are included with your cruise fare. You do not have to make any reservations or get any tickets to see these shows. You basically, once the doors open, can get in line. But the Golden Mickeys, I heard before that they would do these type of interviews with kids, and then they would broadcast them into the Walt Disney Theater. And I wasn't sure if the interviews were kind of collected and then played during the actual show, or if it was done before. So lo and behold, it was done before. In Brooklyn, my daughter wanted to get interviewed, so we went down before, waited in line, and they had like a red carpet rolled out, an interview where they asked her name, some of her favorite Disney stuff, and I got to record it right then and there. And then when we walked into the theater to go get our seats, it was great to see people say hi, Brooklyn. It kind of made her feel like a celebrity. So that was an awesome thing that we got to experience.
Very cool.
The other thing we got to experience this time, so originally on this sailing, I was going to bring my mother-in-law who lives with us, but she decided that she didn't want to go, so we brought Sarah's brother, Ben. So this was his first time sailing on Disney Cruise Line. So getting to experience a sailing through the eyes of a first-time sailor is a lot of fun. Get to see him enjoy all the rotational dining. We took him to Palo Brunch, getting to see the shows, seeing him play with Brooklyn on the water slides and the pools, and so all that kind of stuff that being so experienced with Disney Cruise Line, you don't always get to see. Like, I'll get to see other families experiencing it for the first time, but actually getting to see someone in my family experience it for the first time was a lot of fun, and it was a lot of great memories that we got to enjoy with having him on the sailing. The last thing that we got to do was Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique for my daughter Brooklyn. and this was maybe the second or third time that that she got to do it. She's getting close to aging out. They allow it until 12 years old, and she's currently 10. So getting to experience this on a Dream class ship, which is a little different than the Wish class ships. So that was a lot of fun. And if the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique is something that some of your listeners are looking forward to, couple pro tips is I would always recommend, even if you do plan to buy the dress or the outfit there, bringing it back up, because there are only so many princess dresses that they're able to have, and only so many sizes. So just in case they didn't have anything, you always want to have that backup. Don't forget the shoes. And also, I learned on our first time that the fairy godmother or fairy godmothers in training aren't allowed to take tips or cash or anything like that as a way of saying thank you. So I take a photo of their name tag and make sure to mention the name in the survey at the end of your sailing that you'll get. That will go a far way. Another thing that we got to experience on this sailing was we actually had probably the best survey staff we have had on all 15 of our sailings. We had Bronco from Serbia. He was outstanding. He knew the ins and outs of every menu. He was able to describe all the food when he placed it down. He knew what to kind of recommend and what not to recommend. And they always try to make it a little, they really try to connect with your family, even though it's on a 3-night sailing. And you might think, hey, Chris, you're not going to get that kind of connection. Well, this was hands down the best staff we've ever had. It's very funny. He asked my daughter Brooklyn what was her favorite fruit, what was her favorite food, and she said watermelon. And from that night on, he brought over a massive plate of freshly sliced watermelon, and he did it very artistically, where he had the cover on the plate and brought it over and made a big display, and that watermelon was outstanding. So it's little things like that that really make sailing on Disney Cruise Line magical. And it was funny is he saw me taking photos of the food, and he brought out this little, I call it a butter bowl, but it was even a little smaller than that, and he propped up my plate, and he's like, this is what the photographers do. And I appreciate a little stuff like that, and made me laugh. So if any of your listeners are going on the Dream, I would say next 6 to 8 months, I would highly recommending requesting Bronco. He was outstanding.
Yeah, that's one thing when we were on the ship that really connected with me was, we have these servers that are joining us as we're going through the rotational dining, and they really get to know you. And, we being a party of 3, we ended up, with another party of 3 that happened to also have at the time a 6-year-old daughter. So we kind of all hit it off anyway, but the way that wait staff and that staff, these people connected with our daughters, and the server would do a magic trick every night, and and the assistant did origami, so they got a different piece of origami every night. And it's just these little things, and they really, by the end of the trip, we were just like, hey, we have to take pictures with you. We want to make sure that we remember you, because you were such a big part of our experience here.
Yeah. And Disney does an excellent job trying to pair families at tables. So if you're a family and you're like, oh, Chris, I really just want to sit the 3, 4, any of us, you can, under special requests, you can ask to sit at a private table. But if you wanted to sit at a table with other families, Disney typically does a very good job pairing you up with either similar age kids, first time cruisers, etc. So they do a very good job.
So, when you mentioned this when you were talking about the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique, and you also when you sent me some of the highlights from your trip in email, you also mentioned don't forget the shoes. I feel like
Hmm.
there's a story here. There's a lesson here that was learned.
Yeah, yeah. So when I was helping my daughter pack when we were going through the packing, I definitely forgot those shoes until last minute, and we saw the white shoes in her closet, and she's like, "Daddy, don't forget the shoes." And I've definitely heard on other podcasts that families have definitely forgotten the shoes and the kids. I mean, it's fine to wear Crocs and sandals and all that, but just in case you wanted something to match the dress, yeah, don't forget the shoes.
Now, your sailing party, you also something that was a little bit I don't want to say unique, but something that was notable is um, you were you were sailing with somebody sober, and
Hmm.
so talk a little bit about how that experience, especially being a Disney cruise, how that how they cater to somebody who does live a sober lifestyle.
Yep, yep. So Ben, he is 6 years sober. So we were celebrating that also with August being his annual celebration. And what was interesting with that is, ironically, someone in at some of his meetings was actually going on the sailing. Also,
Oh, no kidding.
she is an avid. She actually has more cruises than Sarah than I have. So yes, I was very interested to kind of get his perspective on it. So in the Disney Navigator app, you will see, I believe, every morning, roughly around 9:30, you will see Friends with Bill W. And what Bill W is, he is the co-founder of AA, or Alcoholics Anonymous. And what that is basically a guest-run meeting. So on the Disney Dream, it was in Palo, which is the adult dining. So it's upstairs in a private area that's not open for breakfast, and anyone is able to attend these meetings that need to go. And so it wound up actually being him and that friend that I mentioned was ironically on the sailing. So they actually just went to the Cove Cafe, which is the coffee the one of the coffee cafes on the ship, and enjoyed their morning there talking. But one thing that I thought was very interesting was that both Ben and his friend mentioned that since Disney Cruise Line does not offer alcohol packages, they
Hmm.
felt like it was a little more friendly to non-drinkers versus other cruise lines that might have that or might promote that. And the kind of the idea, uh, the reason why I think they felt like that is, so we went on a royal sailing this summer, and with the cost of the alcohol package that you purchase, you kind of want to feel like you want to get your best bang for your buck. You
Sure.
want to make sure that maybe you're making money on the cruise line or something like that. So you might go a little more excessive than you would if you had to pay for every drink. So by Disney not putting you in that scenario, by not really offering drink packages. Now they do offer some type of cooler packages where you buy a cooler and you get 8 beers for the price of six, or they have a beer glass that you buy that's 21 ounces, but you pay for 16 ounces, or something like that.
Yep.
But that's pretty much it. Besides buying drinks throughout your time on the cruise ship, so the by not having that clientele that's trying to max out everything, it allows someone that is sober to maybe enjoy the experience a little more.
Yeah, you mentioned the coolers that you can buy. We uh, we were eyeing those the coolers because we liked the cooler, but we weren't.
Mhm.
We were just like, well, we don't. can we just get the cooler? Do we need the whole, the beer, all the beer? And then somebody, kind of nudged me and was just like, they also sell them with water. Like,
With
it's
yep.
it's a little bit cheaper, and it's just, well, you always need some water. So we we still have that and use it regularly. It's our favorite cooler. So the cooler
Nice.
itself is a nice investment, and you can get it with
It
the
is.
water too. So
Yeah.
excuse me. So so we you also mentioned that there are some new menu items at a few places, like the you mentioned the Enchanted Garden and the Animator's Palate. So what were you able to try, and what were some of your takeaways?
So on the Enchanted Garden, there was a sea bass dish that I really loved. It was on a bed of risotto with peas, and they changed the fish there to I'm probably not going to pronounce this right, but it's a corvina fillet. Now, I didn't feel it is still a white fish like a sea bass, but it definitely didn't have that umami or that fattiness that that went really well with the risotto. Now the risotto was still outstanding, and the other uh, uh, thing that was so Anna Enchanted Garden. It's I would call it a not necessarily a seafoody heavy menu, but they have a ahi tuna tower and a sea scallops dish for dinner. Both of those are outstanding. And then the dessert that you're going to want to get is the warm sticky date pudding. That is a great way to end the meal. Now that used to be offered in Animator's Palate, but that got replaced now with this warm apple crisp that's served with vanilla ice cream that we got to try for the first time. So that was the new dish in the new dessert, I should say, in Animators that I didn't remember trying in the past. As far as some highlights for the Animator's Palate, we'll start with the black truffle persets, which is a awesome appetizer that has these little pasta purses filled with mushroom, and you get four, but I always order a double batch. One thing to mention with Disney Cruise Line when you're ordering, anybody could order off the kids menu. And anybody can order off the adult menu, so that your kids don't just have to eat what's on the kids menu. In fact, I recommend and kind of have Brooklyn or Jake try something that they might not try or might not think they like and experience it on the cruise ship. Because if they don't like it, we could always order something else. So we'll either require them to try something that we're eating or order something for themselves. And if there is something that you don't like, you're able to kind of replace it and order something else. Disney Cruise Line does do an excellent job with allergies or diet restrictions, which when you are making a reservation for the sailing, you can include all that information, and then your first night you will go over with your dining staff what the allergies are and if there's a special menu for you and all that kind of stuff. So they really do an excellent job catering to if there's any allergies or any dietary restrictions in your party.
Yeah, and that's especially for me, that's something that's important. I have a shellfish allergy, and especially, a lot of places when you're cruising, there's a lot of seafood options, and the way that things are prepared, etc. You want to be especially careful. And Disney, whether it's on the cruise line or in the parks or at a resort, I've always found that they're top notch in making sure that that stuff is taken care of.
Yes, absolutely.
So there were, excuse me, of course, I also have a 7-year-old. She'll be 8 the next time that we sail. But she loves the Oceaneer Club. And I remember we did the tour, of the, she calls it the kids club. So we did the tour of the kids club, and I remember walking around and was just like, I want to hang out here for a while,
Yes.
And so there's a little something new in this experience, I believe, this time on your sailing.
Yep. the Disney Dream and the Fantasy that's currently or finishing up dry dock are getting one area inside the kids club, the Oceaneers Club, switched. So now they're getting, it's called a mobile WEB or web or Worldwide Engineering Brigade. So it's kind of very similar on the Wish class ships where you'll have the Marvel Superhero Academy. You'll get to, there's a couple screens in this little play area, and you'll pick your character and get to go on some events and some adventures in that area. It's also Marvel themed, so you'll see some costumes and some props from some of the Marvel movies. So yeah, it's a really cool area that's added to the Oceaneer Club. So the just a little about the Oceaneers Club and Lab. So that's for ages kids age 3 through 10. And then they also have the Edge, which is ages for 11 through 14. And then you have Vibe, which is 14 to 17. And then some ships will have a 18 to 20 society for kids 18 through 20.
All right. So we've kind of powered through a lot of different topics here. Is there anything that you made note of that we haven't touched on? I know I've been jumping around the list a little bit, but is there anything else that you were that you made note of on this trip that you're just like, people need to know about this?
Yeah, I always try to tell people, FOMO is a serious thing you run into with any sailing, no matter it's a 3-night or a 7-night. There's so much offered throughout the entire sailing. So while you are in the Disney Cruise Line app, which it is free to use. You connect to the ship's Wi-Fi, which allows you to use the app at no additional charge. There is a Wi-Fi package if you wanted to go to social medias or emails and stuff like that. But to use the app while you're on the sailing, it is no additional charge. And when you are exploring each day's activities, on the right side, there will be an empty heart. And if you hit that heart, it'll fill up red. And also, what that will do is about 15 minutes before that activity goes live, you'll get a notification on your phone if your notifications are turned on. So, what I typically do in the morning is while I'm drinking my coffee, I'll go through the app and heart stuff that my daughter, my son, my wife, myself might enjoy. So that way throughout the day while we're doing something, I'll get the notification, and then we'll know, hey, do I want to continue what we're doing right now, or do we want to stop and go to this activity? I find that's the best way to kind of prioritize your day. One thing that is awesome with cruising, it's kind of choose your own adventure. So my son loves playing basketball. He heads up to the basketball area. Brooklyn's my water baby, so we're in the pool, we're on the slides. So there's something for everyone to enjoy.
Now, what is the layout of the pool or the pools on this ship?
So you're gonna have, I think you have Mickey's, you have Donald's. You're gonna have the Aqua Duck, which is gonna be the roller coaster. You're also gonna have Mickey's Slide, which is a slide for I'd say for younger kids. I know there's a height restriction. It's a very, very small kid friendly slide. Then you're also gonna have Satellite Falls, which is going to be the adult only area for the pools, and I believe there might be some smaller little kind of like watering, not really pools, but wading pools that you could explore on throughout the ship.
Yeah, that was one thing that with the Wish I felt could have been laid out a little bit better. It felt like the pools were, I mean, it's a Disney cruise. There are going to be a million kids, and there should be, but it felt like at times the pools were very constricted. And we did try to go to the pools a couple of times, and just found that there wasn't a lot of room to really for us to feel comfortable and have fun. And even for our daughter, who takes up a lot less space than we do, it felt like there were times where maybe that was something that could have been. And of course, if you have a larger pool, you're sacrificing something else. So,
Oh, yeah.
It's a give and take with that kind of stuff. But that was one thing that we were a little bit, wishing, oh, well, maybe this could have been laid out a little different
Yeah.
on the Wish.
On the Wish class ships, I like the pools that are up a deck towards the back. So not the one that's like right in front where the funnel vision is, where you get to watch the movies. I find the ones in the back area, I think they're Donald's and Goofy's maybe. They're a little deeper, and I find you're able to kind of play a little more in them than the ones that are typically right in the by the funnel vision.
All right. Well, this has been a lot of fun and very informational. Like, I've gotten a real great insight into this ship. I have, of course, the next time that I'm sailing is on the Destiny, and I've been trying to piece together what some of the some of the things that are going to be on the Destiny. Obviously, the Destiny is on its way to Fort Lauderdale right now, so we'll probably get a lot more information as we get closer. But as somebody who is as avid a DCL fan as you are, from what you've seen, what are some of the things that you are most intrigued by or excited about with this particular ship?
Oh yeah. So I would say first and foremost is going to be Hercules, the new Broadway show. I've been seeing a couple things with the puppets that they're doing. That's going to be very exciting. The new call it Theater in the Round, but the Pride Lands, the Lion King themed restaurant that's going to have some African inspired dishes, is going to be outstanding. They're also doing something different this time. They're doing some villain meet and greets because of this ship being themed to Marvel. So you're going to see Loki, Dr. Fiasse, Maleficent, and Cruella. There's going to be very different type of character meet and greets that are going to be just sprinkled throughout the ship. It might not even be stuff that shows up in the Navigator app. It might just be when you are walking around and you get to run into them, whereas Loki's trying to take over the Grand Hall or stuff like that. Also with the Destiny, like what they did with the Treasure, they're having two storytellers that are going to be doing special activities and shows throughout the time that anytime you see them in the app, you're definitely going to want to go and experience them. On the Treasure, they were known as Coriander and Sage, and on the Destiny, it's Samba and something with a G. I can't remember right now, but so anything that those two storytellers are going to, I would absolutely go to. Some of the new lounges are going to be very interesting. You have the Sanctum Lounge, which is going to be based off of Doctor Strange. You have a Cask and Cannon Lounge that's going to be based on Pirates of the Caribbean, and then you're having a DeVille's Lounge, which is based off of Cruella DeVille. So some new lounges, new drinks, and they're going to repeat the Haunted Mansion Parlor. I've heard that they're going to have some different drinks than that's currently on the Treasure, but that's going to be 4 awesome lounges to experience. Now, all the lounges that I just mentioned, besides the DeVille's, is open to kids roughly until around 8 p.m. and then it becomes adult only. Whereas DeVille's, the Piano Lounge, I believe, is going to be adult only all the time. So make sure you bring your little ones in there, get to experience some of the hidden Mickeys and all that fun stuff that's inside the lounges.
Now, have you been on the Treasure?
Yeah, we were on the Treasure back in March. It was amazing sailing. It was a top 3 sailing that we've been on.
Wow. Yeah, I'm curious too. Obviously, these 3 ships, the Wish, the Treasure, and the Destiny, are all part of the same class, and especially the Wish, with the time that it was being built, in the middle of the pandemic and coming out of the pandemic. They faced a lot of challenges in putting that ship together, and some people had some critiques about some things that could have been better and things like that. And that the general feedback on the Treasure was, wow, compared to the Wish, this is they stepped up their game a bit. It was that. It sounds like this was an accurate assessment.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. It 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 was amazing walking into that grand hall the first time. The colors, all the tiling that they did. They you could tell that this was they listened. They were able to get all the correct materials, and they really hit it out of the park. I would be on the Treasure so much more if it wasn't a 7-night sailing. Sometimes it's too hard to get away from work that long, but yeah, they absolutely hit it out of the park with the Treasure, and I think they're going to continue that with the Destiny. And then there's a fourth Wish class ship that's unnamed that's going to be on the horizon next. And the Wish, when she turns 5, is going to go into a dry dock. My guess is that some of the materials maybe they weren't able to get during COVID times, they'll make those changes then.
All right. Well, I really appreciate you taking the time with me. This has been a lot of fun. I love talking Disney, and I'm relatively new to Disney cruising, but I've been bitten by the bug. We're going again as soon as we had the opportunity. Really, we booked that placeholder and secured our spot, and then found the time when we could sail again. So, while I'm still very much a park goer at heart, there's a certain part of me that is now a cruiser too. So, anything else before I let you go? Anything else that you've thought of, or that you think that anybody who's thinking about a Disney cruise should know?
Well, since you're a DVC member, Disney does do, I think, 2 DVC sailings throughout the year. Or I know at least one. That's something you should definitely look into. They bring special guests. There's special lectures that are done on those sailings. They also give out outstanding gifts every day in your room. So that's definitely something I would put on your horizon as you enjoy more and more Disney cruises. But if all this sounds interesting, one way to find me is on all the socials is DCL Cruising Dad, and then I have a YouTube channel where I kind of put together all the photos that I took to make some videos. It's DCL Cruising Dad 2022, and that's all broken down by ships. So if you're going on the Wish, you're going on the Dream, you're going on the Fantasy, and there's something that you wanted to show your family or you didn't get to experience, you wanted to see what it looks like, it's all broken down onto playlists on there, so you could go and take a look.
And I'll definitely link to some of this stuff in the show notes as well, so people will be able to access it easily. Awesome. Yeah, any other ways that you'd like to let people know about how they can find you or reach you? I mean, I know that I reached out to you directly with some questions about some stuff, especially with regard to sailing out of Fort Lauderdale before. So, and thank you. You've been immensely helpful. So, how can people be sure to find how to reach you and find more information?
Yep, there's 2 easy ways on the website, DCL Cruising Dad. At the bottom there is a form where if you do have a question, you could fill it in there and it'll go directly to my email, or just dclcruisingdad@gmail.com, and I'll gladly answer any questions you have about Disney Cruise Line, whether it's something about ground transfers, hotels, itineraries, ships, what's offered on ships. If there's a question that that I don't know, I'll gladly try to research it and get the answer for you. The other thing that you can do on that same form is if you are sailing and you want to decorate your door, and you found my website helpful and you would like a complimentary DCL Cruising Dad magnet to display on your door, shoot me an email and your address, and I will set sail that magnet on its way to your house.
Excellent. All right. Well, one thing that I just thought I didn't ask. Do you have another sailing on your agenda or in the near future?
Yep. So we have a sailing in February on the Wish, and then we are going on the Destiny in May once the kids are out of school.
All right. Well, I'd love to circle back with you, especially after
Yes.
we've both had an opportunity to experience the Destiny and kind of compare some notes.
Absolutely. I look forward to it. I'll shoot you an email with with my sailings, kind of like how I did with this, and we'll schedule a date and time.
All righty. Great. Again, thank you for coming on and joining me. I think that this was it was a lot of fun and a lot of great information for folks.
Absolutely. Thank you again. It was my pleasure and an honor, and I'm excited to get to meet some of your listeners.
All righty. That was great. Thank you very much.
Perfect. Thank you.
You can't necessarily plan for every scenario, but you can certainly try. And you should let We Do Travel Right help you plan as much as you can. There are always going to be twists and turns in a trip for sure, but having a good solid plan will help make your trip go so much better. And that's why We Do Travel Right offers you the one-on-one service of an agent. But while you are getting that individualized attention, that agent is working with a team, and that team is working for you. Whether you're talking about park tickets, hotel reservations, getting those dining plans and dining reservations that you're looking for, or everything in between, even some of those things like helping you navigate the parks and figuring out how to use the apps and things like that, We Do Travel Right is here to help you. They even have things like seminars and study halls so that you can, kind of piece things together and really feel empowered to have a great trip. And the best thing is all of their services are free. You're not paying anything extra, whether you're going to Disney or Universal or on a cruise or to an all-inclusive. And why? That's because those places build the use of an agent into their pricing already. So you're paying for the agent whether you use them or not. So doesn't it just make sense to use the agent? So if you are ready to start your planning for your next vacation, go to wedotravelright.com/Maza. That's wedotravelright.com/MAZA and get your next magical vacation started today.
Well, I can't do any more damage around this popsicle stand.
So long, partner.
See you real soon.
Whew, wow. We got through a lot in a really kind of short period of time. It's great to hear about other people's trips. If you have a trip that you'd love to tell me about, give me a trip report, reach out. I'd be happy to hear it. All of these kinds of connections that I've been able to make with this podcast are really what have made it worth it. I really appreciate everybody who's taken the time, like Chris, to reach out to me and say, hey, I'd love to talk with you. And I'm appreciative to everybody who I've reached out to who have said, hey, I'd love to have you come on the podcast. Anyway, I also appreciate everybody who's been listening to the podcast. So if you've been listening and you want to help me grow this podcast, the best way to do it is to, I just realized I'm still wearing the the Mickey Pumpkin hat. I'm going to take that off now. Anyway, the best way that you can help this grow is by letting your friends know, word of mouth. friends, family, whatever. Hey, I'm listening to this great podcast. You should listen to it too. Outside of that, you can also leave us a rating and a review on your favorite podcatcher, which will help us gain traction with those algorithms that boost things up and put them in a spot where they're more visible for more people. So then we'll be growing the growing the listenership, and we'll be growing the community that we're trying to build here. Some news coming up later about some other ways that we're trying to grow the community, but those are not quite ready yet. So we're going to hold off on that. Outside of that, if you're looking for more information about this podcast, you can go to mazasmusings.wordpress.com. And there you'll find past episodes. You'll find more information about the podcast. And you'll also find information on our upcoming 100th episode celebration. Now, this is really cool, and we'd love for you to be a part of it. You can find out information on how you can leave us a message. We actually set up something so that you can record a voice message through a link on our website and send it to me. It'll go right to the inbox here. And we also, if you'd like to record a video and send it to mazasmusings@gmail.com, we'd love to have that. Or if you'd like to just write something and send it in to, again, that email address, we'd love to hear it. We'll include all of it in that episode, which is coming up fast. So I appreciate everybody who's been here, whether you've been here for one episode or you'll have been here for 100. I appreciate all of it. Also, while you're there on the website, you can sign up for our newsletter. Newsletter comes once a week in your inbox. I usually try to do it at the same time, but it's kind of depends on when I have the time. But but anyway, you'll find out more about things that you've missed. Excuse me. Things that are coming up. Things that we think are cool, like sweepstakes and contests, and all kinds of other cool stuff that we may come across. In fact, if there's a new podcast that we come across, we'll also throw those out there for people to look at as well, because we want to support other people in the podcasting community. All right. So, I mean, outside of that, I think the only thing that I have to say is thanks for your support. And if you are looking to support just a little bit more, we do have Buy Us a Blue Milk, which is a small obligation-free way to, just help us with some of the small, costs that go into this podcast. Well, we are closing in on the 100 episodes, and I don't think that I can ever express the gratitude enough. You hear me say thank you and thank you and thank you over and over again on this podcast, but it's genuine. It's real. I really appreciate everything that you guys have done to support me, and that goes from people who are just listening to people who are other podcasters who have given me tips along the way. Everything is great. I very much appreciate each and every one of you. And as always, I hope you have a great weekend and a great week. For the Maza's Musings podcast is brought to you by Hi Dad Soup. Check them out at Mickey and Minutes on Instagram.